Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. And we already got a few of you on. I see a few of you have already done your homework and given this video a thumbs up. What's up, guys? Let me get myself set up over here. We'll get the party started. TNC is back in effect. All right, come on. There we go. I'm getting the chat pulled up here so we can get the party started. Oh, man, we got a bunch of you guys already chiming in. All right, Mario's on. Unrivaled Boxing's on. Alacron Dan is on. Alexandra is on. Jack is on. Joni's on. What's up, everybody? We are right at 7 o'clock. So let's go ahead and get this thing popping. If you guys have any issues with audio, video, let me know what's going on. All right, let's get this thing going here. Hello again, fight fans, and welcome to episode number 187 of the Neutral Corner Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Michael Montero, for BoxingMonthly.com and Boxing Monthly Magazine. And as you can see right here, the new issue of Boxing Monthly is out in stores, and right there on the cover, The Welter Wars. An article about the welterweight division and what's going on. And of course, the big one later this month, we got Errol Spence fighting Sean Porter. That's in Los Angeles at Staples Center. I will be there covering that event, along with Tiffany Lamb, the very beautiful and talented Tiffany Lamb. So we're going to be flying out there late next week. We're actually going to be out there in SoCal for 2 weeks to cover that event and take care of some other stuff, visit some friends and family, the whole nine. So good times, man. Let's see. Guys, I don't charge a fee for this podcast. I do ask that if you want to pledge here live on YouTube on Super Chat, please do so. If you want to get a question in or just tip the show. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Montero Unboxing if you want to contribute. And we have these Montero Unboxing tees. So we sold a few of them this week, and we got a few left in stock before we head out to LA. So if anyone's interested in any of that, email me at monteroonboxing@gmail.com. All right, so tonight, we're going to discuss a few things. We've got upcoming fights that are coming together. A few of them are not yet official, but they're basically on like the 1 yard line, to use an NFL reference. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about them tonight because they're done. They're done, and everyone knows they're done, regardless of what you're hearing. We're going to talk about that, including this KSI versus Logan Paul thing. I'm going to talk about that for a second. And then we got a lot to preview this weekend. It's Mexican Independence Day weekend, which has become... the Mexican Independence Day obviously is a huge holiday in the country of Mexico, but here in the United States, it's kind of become a holiday for boxing. The Saturday of that weekend, the Saturday around that holiday has become pretty much the biggest boxing weekend of the year in the United States. And what's crazy is that we don't have any big super fight happening this Saturday. It's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, as I've talked about in the last few weeks, the last quarter of this year, man, October through December is going to be so great. It's going to make us forget all about this Mexican Independence Day weekend. But for those of you who like to go to Vegas, the Saturday around Mexican Independence Day, we got LINEAL Heavyweight Championship on the line. I'll talk a little bit about that, of course. All right. Let me see if you guys have any questions up front here. Selun Mooney is watching from Poland. Awesome. Awesome. We got Captain Hook Chronicles watching from, I'm sorry, I got that right. I got that wrong. Oh man, this chat's updating quickly. Maciej Kosici watching from Poland. I'm sure I butchered that name. I'm so sorry, brother. Captain Hook Chronicles, of course, watching from Canada. Got you guys watching from all over the world. I love it. Drazu's asking, Montero, how you doing? How's the new house? So I just built a door. That's all I do now is build doors. And just put down a coat of sealant on it. I'm going to paint it later and install that this weekend. We're getting there, guys. It's getting there. I've started to put the ceiling in my office. I built out all the walls and everything, and I got to finish the ceiling. I insulated everything to like soundproof it. So the studio is getting close. And then after that, I'm going to put some carpet down and everything. I'm telling you, we're getting there. By the end of this year, by the holidays, this thing's going to be finished, and the studio will be up and running. It's going to be so dope. Part of my trip to LA is to work on some business stuff, to meet with a few guys about the future of TNC, where this show's going, and who wants to become a part of it. So more to come with all that. We'll talk. I won't bore you guys too much with that this week. Captain Hook Chronicles with the super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, Mike, does Chisora have a point in his last rant? Okay, so Captain Hook Chronicles is talking about Derek Chisora, who went off on a rant, a long rant that was somewhat coherent, somewhat incoherent. I love Derek Chisora, man. He's a great character. During a press conference for the Prograis Taylor fight. Now, Captain Hook Chronicles, you're going to have to give me details about what part does he have a point about. Because he kind of went off on a bunch of different shit. And you guys saw what he went on. He was talking during the presser, but then after that, some of the YouTube guys got to him and he did a few more rants and talked to a few more guys. And I saw some stuff on social. So just be a little more specific. You guys are saying the front mic is off. Let me check. Hopefully my mic is working. Mic is working, hopefully. One of you guys said the mic is off, but everyone else seems to be hearing me pretty good. So hopefully we're good on that. Captain Hook Chronicles said to be the main event. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, dude. I think he was saying something about, okay, so a few of you guys said the mic is fine. Okay, so for I can't remember who it was. If the audio is off, dude, just refresh the video and hopefully you'll be okay. But man, you're gonna have to, dude, I've had so much news that I've had to pump in to get ready for this show. I forget the specifics about what he was saying about the main event. Chisora wants to be the headline. Oh, I think he was saying like he feels he should be the main event and everything else. No, he shouldn't. I mean, I love Derek Chisora, but he should be happy he's on such a big card. You know, yeah, he was bitching about money, headlining. He was bitching about a bunch of other things. But he is at a point in his career where he's not headlining anymore. Like, he's not the main event. And I understand he had a knockout of the year recently, or a knockout of the year candidate and everything else. I understand that. But Prograis and Taylor is the World Boxing Super Series finale. Taylor is undefeated. Prograis is undefeated. They're bringing titles together. Obviously, they're headlining. And Chisora should be happy to be fighting on that card. And if he performs well on that card, then he could be headlining in a fight next year. You know what I'm saying? That's where his mind should be. Chisora is a character. I don't know if he can headline his own card right now, sure. But it would be nowhere near the size, the event that Prograis Taylor is going to be. And he knows that. He's just doing what he does to help get himself into a big event again. And I don't blame him for that. But yeah, he's not headlining right now, at least not big shows. Let me see, a couple more questions and then we'll get into some quick news and notes. We got you guys saying Devin Haney is the next Floyd Mayweather. Devin Haney has the knockout of the year against Antonio Moran. Some of you guys are trolling and saying that Devin Haney is better than Sugar Ray Robinson and Henry Armstrong combined. Hilarious. Daily Boxing 365 says Prograis versus Taylor is number 1 versus number 2. Exactly. The winner of that fight is the man. They're the man of that division. I understand Jose Carlos Ramirez unified titles, but this is number 1 versus number 2. They went through the tournament. Winner of this fight is the man, the lineal champion, there's that word again, of that division. And of course, I want to see the winner against Ramirez next year. However, you know, look, it's going to be for the Ring Magazine title. It should be. We voted for that on the committee. And I mean, I think it's undisputed. Seriously. I understand there's other titles. And well, I won't say undisputed, but they're the top guy. Winner is the top guy. Got to fight Ramirez, though. That'd be awesome. Boxing Tech asking, how many belts does Chisora got? LOL. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Derek Chisora is what he is. He's a character, and I love the character that he is. He's made for some great moments. Look, boxing press conferences are usually boring as shit. I hardly ever go to them anymore because they're a waste of time for a media guy because they stream most of that stuff anyway. They're good if you want to grab some interviews. But Derek Chisora makes him fun. He's had several fun ones in recent memory. But he's kind of a gatekeeper level heavyweight. Kind of a gatekeeper level. We're in a bubble just under the top 10. He's in the top 15. Always going to give someone a tough night in the office if he's sharp and on his A game. But he's not an elite level heavyweight, and he knows that. And it just is what it is. Daily Boxing 365 says, we need characters like Chisora. Hell yeah, I completely agree with that. Again, I like Derek Chisora. All right, let's talk about some of these fights coming up. So first of all, Kovalev-Canelo. That's going to happen November 2nd, Las Vegas, okay? So we'll talk a lot more about that fight. Obviously, in the coming months. They have, let's see, all of October, they don't even have 2 full months to promote that fight. They don't need to. It's Canelo, it's Las Vegas. So they'll be fine. That's going to be a big event. I've gone back and forth on this fight. Look, it's not a cherry pick for Canelo Alvarez. It's not a cherry pick, but it's very, very much a calculated risk. I've talked about that a few times. Here's an example I can give, okay? I have a Jeep. I bought a brand new Jeep last year, my first brand new car in my life when I moved out here to Atlanta. That was one of the cool things about moving here to a quieter part of the country where things are cheaper. I was able to do that. Anyway, if I'm driving through the mountains, which I did recently, Tiffany's birthday last weekend, we went up to the mountains and visited some cool little towns up there. There was like a little Christmas town, a little German town. We visited all these places. It was fun. Driving through the mountains is no freaking joke out here, right? If you got a Jeep with big, badass tires, but there's no tread on them, you could be slipping and sliding all over those mountains while you're driving through there. And if there's a freaking rainstorm, you sure as hell don't want to be driving through the mountains with no tread on your tires, even if they're big, badass, expensive tires. I would rather have small, efficient tires with a lot of tread on them if I'm driving through a rainstorm in the mountains. It's a horrible comparison, but it's the best I could come up with for this fight. You understand what I'm saying? Canelo Alvarez, yes, smaller tires, a lot more tread, a lot sharper, a lot more efficient. Sergey Kovalev, big badass tires, that tread is worn thin. Some of the little spokes in the tires, some of the little metal pieces are starting to poke through some of the tread, right? There's some cracks in the tread. You want to go driving through a rainstorm with those kind of tires on your Jeep? I don't know about that. That's just how I see this fight. Now, because Kovalev's bigger, I'm starting to think this might go the distance. I really am. At first, you guys know I thought that Canelo was just going to bomb him to the body and get him out of there. But you look, who the hell is Canelo knocked out that's a decent fighter anyway, north of 155, Canelo catchweight? Who is he knocked out? He doesn't knock anybody out at middleweight. He didn't knock out Chavez at 160. I can't remember what damn weight that fight was, that catchweight that was at. The super middleweight fight. He knocked out Fielding, but Fielding isn't even a top 10 super middleweight. I don't give a shit if he had a title. He's not even a top 10 super middleweight. No disrespect to him. He's just not. So, Azier said, 164, I think 164 and a half, Azier, that fight was. And he was playing it a little safe. He didn't want to mess up the fight with Golovkin, I get that. But he couldn't stop those guys. He doesn't knock people out. So I'm starting to think distance fight. Does anybody in their right mind think Sergey Kovalev can win a fucking decision against Canelo Alvarez in Las Vegas, even if he jabs the shit out of him and outboxes him? Do you think he's going to get the decision? So bet the bank on Canelo Alvarez by decision in that fight. And depending on what the over-under is, bet the over. Right now, the odds are pretty wide. I think as it gets closer to the fight, the odds will even up a little bit. I think more of the Eastern European money will come into Vegas and affect the odds. But if the over-under, let's say, is like 7 rounds, 8 rounds, bet the over and make bank on that fight. Trust me. If the over-under is 11 rounds, different story. But anyway, we'll talk more about that, of course, in the months to come. That's going to be announced any minute soon officially. A rematch between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. That is going to happen November 23rd at the MGM Grand Las Vegas on Showtime pay-per-view. The beef with this is it was going back and forth between Showtime and Fox. And really, honestly, Fox would be better. I don't know why. Showtime, I'm starting to buy into it. Showtime's on their way out. Ozzy asks, is Ortiz still alive? Ha! Yeah. George Underwood, pay-per-view, what? Yeah, it's going to be pay-per-view, guys. But as far as I do believe it's going to be pay-per-view. If it's not pay-per-view, that's awesome. But I've heard Showtime pay-per-view. That's who's distributing it. So I think this went to Showtime because Showtime, Steven Espinoza has been very good to Uncle Al, particularly Deontay Wilder, in the last couple years. Went to bat for him, spent a hell of a lot of money to broadcast Wilder Brazil, way more money than that fight was worth, way overpaid for it. That's why their budget was shit for so much of the year. Earlier this year, and it lasted, half a round? So I think Uncle Al felt, you know what, let me throw Steven Espinoza a bone here, and they decided to go with Showtime. But if you look at what Fox is doing, Fox pay-per-view, they have that machine behind it, right? Fox is in however many million homes, over 100 million homes in this country. Fox pay-per-view would have been a smarter play, but Showtime pay-per-view, it is. And look, I think Ortiz is going to be 624 years old when that rematch happens. He's got a heart condition, blood pressure issues. Remember, I'm the only one in the media who talks about this, but he was only medically cleared to fight Deontay Wilder the first time the morning of the fight. They literally flew in Charles Martin, I think Thursday night, maybe Friday, to be on standby to fight Deontay Wilder, because up until the Saturday of the fight, the first fight, Luis Ortiz had not been cleared by the New York State Athletic Commission. So anyway, that's going down November 23rd. So November, you got a couple of big events, right? And they're both in Vegas. So good for Vegas because they've had a down year. Also, let's talk about this. This is also in November. November 9th in Los Angeles at Staples Center on DAZN. KSI versus Logan Paul 2, the rematch the whole world wanted. Okay, let me just say this. There are a lot of people out there, boxing purists, that are really offended by that event, KSI versus Logan Paul. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure you all do if you're watching this show, okay, that means you're a freaking diehard if you're watching my show. These guys are internet YouTube guys. I don't know if they're rappers or Instagram models or what it is that they do. The one dude basically looks like he could be an Instagram model or something, or like a shampoo commercial model. And the other dude's a pretty boy too. I don't know what they do. I just know they're on YouTube. They fought last year. I think KSI won. I don't even know which one that is. He won, and they're gonna do a rematch. And now it's pro. So they got their license, headgear's off. And there's a lot of people in boxing that are really pissed off. And they're like, man, this ruins the sanctity of boxing and what we stand for in boxing, blah, blah, blah. Look, screw all that. I mean, come on, boxing screws itself all the time with that kind of crap, with morals and ethics. Let's get out of here with that shit. This fight isn't going to ruin boxing. It's actually going to make a lot of freaking money. Now, at the same time, to all the people out there who are saying that this is going to bring new fans to the sport, it's going to build fans, it's going to bring in a whole new fan base, get the fuck out of here. No, it's not. The people that are going to be watching KSI and Logan Paul, yeah, they got tens of millions of YouTube subscribers. I get it, okay? And again, I don't know what the hell they do. But think about it this way, guys. If the Kardashian sisters, pick whichever two you want, if two of them did celebrity boxing, two of the Kardashians, Kim and Courtney, that one that looks like a wildebeest in Kim, who's really, really photoshopped and vastly overrated in my opinion. Anyway, neither of them are the best looking one. I can't remember the name of the best looking one. Courtney? I can't remember. Anyway, those two, if they got in the ring and boxed, millions of people would watch that shit. Seriously. If two of the Kardashian sisters fought at Staples Center in Los Angeles, they live in the greater LA area, I do believe, and they did it on Fox or NBC or something, man, millions of people would watch. Millions of people. Would any of those people become boxing fans? Would any of them become hardcore fans? Get the fuck out of here. That's what this is too. That's what this is. KSI and Logan Paul, Their fans on YouTube are going to watch this fight. They're going to spend money. They're going to make money. Uncle or crazy cousin Eddie is going to make money because Eddie Hearn's promoting this. DAZN's going to make money. Staples is going to make money. Everyone's going to make money. It's going to make them real happy. And we're probably going to see more events like this. But it's not going to build new fans. It's going to build a little segment of the sport where maybe once a year, once every other year, you get a freak show like this. Silvio asked, does Charlie Z get the winner? Charlie Zelenoff. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be there trolling the hell out of both of these guys. There's probably going to be fights like this in the future. Look, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor was a freak show. That was an absolute freak show, right? Oh, Chris Bergen says KSI Logan Paul 1 was a draw. I did not know that. Okay, so it was a draw. Gail Falkenthal says different strokes for different folks. Let people have their fun. Yes, exactly, Gail. My whole point to all this is I don't give a shit about this fight one way or the other. I'm not going to go watch it. I'm not going to go cover it. But it's not going to destroy boxing. It's not going to add new fans to boxing. It's a one-off, and people are going to make money, so they'll do something like this again. And anytime these two dudes fight, their fans from YouTube will tune in, and then they're going to tune back out of boxing. That's just how this shit works. Trini with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. He doesn't even have nothing to say. He just wants to do the super chat. Trini, you're the man. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that, man. I hope you're not working right now. I hope you're not working. I hope you're done working for the day and you're chilling and having a beer because you deserve it, brother. All right, one more fight coming up, guys. Shakur Stevenson, 12-0, going up against Joet Gonzalez, 23-0. Of course, Stevenson from the East Coast. You got Gonzalez from the West Coast, from LA. They're going to be fighting for the vacant featherweight WBO title that Oscar Valdez vacated when he moved up in weight. So this fight's going to take place October 26th in Reno, Nevada. I think it was Joet Gonzalez's side. They wanted to demand Stevenson do VADA testing. So they are. So both fighters are doing VADA testing for this. So these are just some of the fights coming up. Again, guys, really from that, I guess from this weekend, I mean, we got some action going on, but the end of this month, we have a big fight in Spence and Porter. From that point to the end of the year, we got a lot of shit going on. A lot of shit going on. Salem Mooney says Serrano Hardy is Friday. Yo, yeah. I'm going to talk about that one because I got some things to say. I got some positive things to say and some criticisms. All right? I'm going to give my thoughts on that. All right. Let's get into... Azier says, I think Montero will edge Ortiz fight with his youth. I love it. Tommy Boseo watching from Northern Canada. Thank you so much, my man. Azier says, Hardy and Serrano are babes. Look, I will say this. They're attractive women. And Hardy has a very nice body, okay? She's in tremendous shape. So seeing them train, seeing them at the weigh-in, it's not hard on the eyes. You know, it's easy on the eyes. So that does help market the might. However, I'm going to talk a little bit about female fighting and some of my issues with it. In fact, let's get into this, okay? Friday, September 13th, we have fights. Matchroom Boxing is putting on a card at MSG at the theater, Madison Square Garden Theater in New York. Of course, this is on DAZN. So we have a few different fights here. Kazakh native now fights out of Miami, Florida. Daniyar Yeliusanov, 7-0. He's going to be fighting Rashard Hicks. I don't know if it's 6 or 8 rounds. They haven't decided yet, but that's a great welterweight prospect to keep an eye on. 2012, 2016 Olympian out of Kazakhstan. Michael Hunter, one loss heavyweight. Michael Hunter, American heavyweight. 17 wins in his career, 12 by KO. His only loss was to Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. No harm in that. Going up against undefeated heavyweight Sergey Kuzmin, who's 15-0, 11 knockouts. That is a 10-round heavyweight fight. I like that fight a lot. And I shade Hunter in that fight. I think he's going to win that. Let's talk about the female fight before we get to the main event, okay? Heather Hardy, 22-0, going up against Amanda Serrano, one of the Serrano sisters. Highly accomplished, not just in boxing, but accomplished, I think, in MMA and jiu-jitsu, a couple different martial arts, not just boxing. This is a 10-rounder for Hardy's WBO women's featherweight title. So, real quick tail of the tape. Hardy, 37 years old. And I think she's done MMA too. 5'5", 64-inch reach. She has fought between 122, 126, the heavier weights. Actually not. She's kind of fit right in the middle. Serrano is turning 31 next month. She's also 5'5", 65-inch reach. She's actually fought at heavier weight. She started lighter though. She's gone from 118 all the way up to 135. She's kind of fluctuated back and forth. I don't know a whole lot about women's boxing, but I know more than the average person. And looking at both of their resumes, I can tell you Serrano has faced the much better opposition. Much better opposition. That's why she's so heavily favored in this fight. She's younger, better opposition, more overall experience, amateur pro, and as far as, high level experience. And she should win this fight by decision. So whenever a female fight comes up, now because of the political era that we live in, you start seeing certain rhetoric. And the big thing is about equal pay, right? You hear, and a lot of female fighters are talking about this. Not all of them. Some of them actually just do their job and fight. But, Azier says, but Hardy has the better body. That doesn't count. It does count, Azier, and she does have the better body. Yeah. Anyway, not that matters. Hey. But you know what? Screw it. Because when we talk about guys fighting, we talk about which guy's in better shape. It's not sexist. That's the thing, man. The fact that I feel uncomfortable just saying that and I thought I was going to get in trouble highlights something about this whole deal. Azier says, sorry. Yeah, Azier, you just got me in trouble, man. Someone's going to take that little segment and put it out there on the internet, and I'm going to get in trouble for that. Women's boxing is different than men's boxing. And bottom line is, this is the entertainment industry. It's sports, which is, there's a hierarchy, right? The best make it to the top, and the best make the most money. It's not just like that in boxing. It's like that in every sport. So there are very few sports where the women compete at the same level, or at least bring in the same type of revenue, the same kind of ratings as the men do. When it comes to tennis, I think that, or volleyball, women's volleyball, women's tennis, they do very, very well, right? There are certain sports where they do very, very well. Boxing, you're just not getting the same product. You're not getting the same product with women as you do with men all the time. That's not to say the women fighters don't work their ass off. That's not to say they don't have heart and they don't try their hardest. But Heather Hardy, for example, 22-0, 4 knockouts, right? And she's one of the best female fighters in the world. That type of knockout ratio. Claressa Shields, who many feel is the best female fighter right now, 0 knockouts. I don't even know if she scored a knockdown at this point. What makes boxing so intriguing for a lot of fans, particularly casual fans, what I call Joe Sixpack, watching somewhere in Nebraska, checking out PBC on Fox, is the knockout, right? And that's not just in boxing, that's in UFC, that's everywhere. You want to see the knockout. You're not going to get that with the women's fighters because of genetics, biology. Women do not have the same upper body strength that men have. And therefore, you're not going to get the knockouts. It's not going to be as exciting. Why Ronda Rousey, and people always point to Ronda Rousey as the example with MMA. What made her so exciting is because in MMA, you don't have to have upper body strength to score stoppages. You can tie someone up and you do an arm bar or something like that, right? I mean, you got to be strong, but you get what I'm saying. You don't have to be a very good puncher to score stoppages in MMA. Those fighters can't take punches as well. They're not trained for it. They're preparing for a bunch of other different things, kicks and arm bars and all this stuff. Ronda Rousey was tapping girls, making girls tap out. She was ripping their arms out of the socket, right? Her wrestling was so dominant that she was stopping girls. So fights were the equivalent in MMA of a knockout, if you will, a knockout on the ground. That created excitement and buzz. And she was marketed very, very well. Quick break here. Chris Bergen chiming in with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. He says, my girlfriend hates boxing, but watches Anthony Joshua fights. I don't know, Chris. I'm going to guess that has something to do with his physique. I don't know. He also has straight, white, perfect teeth. That might have something to do with it. I don't know. I'm just going to say, when Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko fought a couple years ago, female viewership was up around the world in boxing. I saw statistics on this, okay? So, do the math on that. Anyway, with these two fighters, look, I respect the hell out of Heather Hardy. She's been through a hell of a lot of shit in her life and come out a winner. I respect the hell out of Amanda Serrano, both Serrano sisters, and all the other female fighters. But stop bitching about equal pay. Instead of bitching about equal pay and demanding, because you're not putting up an equal product. You don't fight the same number of rounds. You don't fight the same length of time in the rounds. Until you put up an equal product, you're not going to get the same pay. If a woman fighter, a woman boxer, comes out like Ronda Rousey and sets the world on fire, and she's drilling chicks, she's knocking chicks out, she's something the world hasn't seen before, and she's good in front of a mic like Ronda Rousey is, good in front of the camera like Ronda Rousey is, she's going to get her money. Trust me, it will happen, all right? Layla Ali wasn't that great of a fighter. She was very overrated. She was good, but not as good as some people think. She made a lot of money, both in boxing and then after boxing. I know she did Dancing with the Stars. She's all kinds of promotional stuff. She's made millions and millions of dollars. Now, some of that was her father's name, but some of it was the fact that she could fight a little bit, okay? And she had something to, like a thing to market. It didn't hurt that she was good in front of a camera. She's a good-looking chick, so it helped, right? At some point, one of these female fighters will break through, but she'll break through because she deserves it. Until then, look, man, when I hear someone like Heather Hardy's talked about this, I think several fighters have. You talk about, I want equal pay because I put in equal work. I'm in the gym training, busting my ass just like the men are. Really, I agree with you, but there are thousands of journeymen, male journeyman fighters around the world putting in 40, 50 hours a week at their full-time job, taking care of their kids at home, taking care of their wife at home, and then going to the gym at night, going to the gym on the weekend, busting their ass to go fight on a club show to make $500 that they got to sell tickets for just to make their $500. That's the majority of male fighters. You want to talk about equal pay and everybody getting what they deserve? There are plenty of dudes out there who are being underpaid, okay? This isn't a sexist thing. It's business. It's entertainment. You provide the product, people will show. Case in point, KSI and Logan Paul, right? What did I just say about that fight? If two of the Kardashian sisters fought each other, everyone would watch and they'd make a ton of money. They'd make 7 figures. It's not about sexism. It's about putting up a product that people want to see. That's what it is. Gail Falkenthal, let me hear your thoughts on this. She says, Montero, let me back you up as one of the few women boxing journalists in the biz. Agree with you. When women can put the butts in the seats and the eyes on the screen, they'll deserve more pay. Thank you, Gail. Thank you very, very much. And again, it's the same thing with male fighters. What do we talk about all the time? People talk about A side, B side, purse splits, guaranteed contracts, all this stuff. And some fighters get paid more than others, probably before they even deserve it, right? Anthony Joshua came out of the Olympics and instantly was selling out arenas and venues, almost instantly, okay? Selling out arenas, making tons of money. Every promoter was salivating over that dude, right? Why? He puts butts in seats. It doesn't hurt that he's a well-spoken British gentleman in boxing crazy UK. It also doesn't hurt that he's a 6'5" Adonis built like a brick shithouse, right? Those things help market him. There's a lot of women tuning in to watch Anthony Joshua fight. It's not just guys. It's mostly guys, but trust me, there's some chicks watching too. So it's about putting butts in seats. Sometimes it's demographics related. Sometimes it's how you look, how you sound. Sometimes it's how you fight. It always should be how you fight, at least to a certain degree. But at some point, one of these female fighters will break through, and when that happens, she will change the game. Right now, every single UFC female fighter should be kissing Ronda Rousey's ass because they're all making more money than they would have 10 years ago because of her. Period. Endo story. Every boxer right now that's making good money should be kissing Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin's ass, and before them, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Mike Tyson, and on down the line. The people that come before you set things up. There's always somebody who breaks through the door and changes the game. And they lift the whole game up and benefit everybody that comes after. All right? So that will happen at some point. It ain't going to happen this Saturday. I think Amanda Serrano is going to win by decision. It's probably going to be the best fight on that card, though. However, actually, you know what? No, it's not. I think that Hunter Kuzmin fight is going to be pretty good. Hopefully they don't hug each other too much. But the main event, Devin Haney, 22-0, 14 knockouts, going up against Zaur Abdullaev, 11-0, 7 knockouts. He also fought in the World Series of Boxing. This is a 12-rounder for the vacant WBC interim lightweight title. So basically the winner of this fight is the interim / mandatory for the real champion, Vasily Lomachenko. Haney turns 21 in November. He's on the fast track. I did a piece on him in Ring Magazine last year, spoke to him, his trainer, his team, awesome people, publicists, these guys are great. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. He is focused, eyes on the prize. I like what I see in Devin Haney. However, this is the biggest fight of his career so far. Amateur or pro. He's taken a leap in opposition here. Abdullaev is no joke. However, I got to say this about Abdullaev. Sorry, it's Abdullaev, I do believe. Zaur Abdullaev. This is his first fight as a professional outside of Russia. Let's see how he handles that. First fight outside of Russia in New York, MSG. There's going to be plenty of Russians in the crowd. And Kuzmin, who as I just talked about, is fighting also on the undercard. And there's some other Eastern Bloc fighters who I talked about. So that fan contingency will be out there, right, supporting him. But it is his first fight outside of Russia. For both of these men, it is their best opponent to date. I saw one of you guys, who was it that said, Tim W. said, easy work for Haney. Dude, I don't know about that. I pick Haney to win. If Haney dominates Abdullaev, that's a huge statement. But I expect him to be competitive. I think it's going to be a competitive fight that goes the distance. Again, if Haney dominates and especially stops Abdullaev, that's some impressive shit. That's some really impressive shit. And he's right there ready to contend. He'll have an interim title. Is he ready for Lomachenko? No. Do I think him and Lomachenko are going to fight next year? No. I don't see that happening. But he's going to be ready to contend if he dominates and wins this fight clear. Okay, Saturday, September 14th. We got a few different fights here. Carlos Takam fighting in upstate New York on Fight TV. That's FITE.TV. His first fight of 2019. A good gatekeeper level heavyweight. Just like Derek Chisora without the personality. Derek Chisora might be a little better, but they're both right about the same. Also, Sergey Kovalev. Remember him? Fighting in his adopted hometown of Scottsdale, Arizona. His first fight since 2017. That'll be fun. George Underwood says Haney versus Tank Davis would be dope. I agree with you, George. However, Tank Davis and his master, Floyd, they are not letting that shit happen. No way, no way. Not happening. I don't think Davis wants that work. I think I'd pick Haney to box the shit out of Tank Davis, big time. Okay, let's talk about the two big cards. Actually, you know what? There's one other small event I wanted to talk about. In London, on ESPN Plus picked this up. Sonny Edwards, younger brother of Charlie Edwards, who just had a disqualification fight against Mexican Julio Cesar Martinez a week ago, is defending like a minor regional super flyweight title. He's 12-0 himself in London. Again, that's picked up by ESPN Plus. And then also, you have the ESPN Plus card from here in Las Vegas. Oh, no contest. James, Texas. Good call. That should have been a disqualification. It was a no contest. Good call. Thank you for correcting me on that, brother. Queensberry and Top Rank putting together this show in Las Vegas. ESPN Plus. In the main event, Tyson Fury defending his quote-unquote lineal heavyweight title against Swede Otto Wallin. This is 12 rounds. So look, I'll talk about lineal in just a second. I posted a video yesterday, the day before, talking about breaking down why I don't feel Tyson Fury is the lineal heavyweight champion. Surprisingly, it only has like 1,000 views. I thought that would get a lot more views, but I think people are really just not interested in this fight. I think that the fan interest is not really there. Very, very interesting. Chris Bergen says, lineal video is great material. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, I mostly got good response. Some of the Fury fanboys really don't like me, but, you know, it is what it is. One fight on this card that you guys should not sleep on. Jose Pedraza, the Puerto Rican who's held titles at 130, 135, 2008 Olympian for Puerto Rico, going up against Mexican-American Jose Zepeda, who just had a close fight with Jose Carlos Ramirez back in February. He's bounced up and down in weight a little bit. They got a 10-rounder. That's going to be fun. You got to have a Puerto Rican versus a Mexican, even though he's an American Mexican, on this card. And I think that they're hoping that's going to help bring out the Mexican fan contingent. Also, of course, in the co-main, Mexican, real from Mexico, Emmanuel Navarrete going up against Juan Miguel Elord. Third defense of Navarrete's WBO Super Bantamweight title. This is Mexico versus Philippines. Smart. You got Mexico versus Puerto Rico. You got Mexico versus Philippines. Right around Mexican Independence Day weekend. Smart move by Top Rank, putting those fights together. Also, though, age is a big thing in this fight. Navarrete, 24. Elord, 33. And kind of an old 33. Elord fought in the USA only once before in his career and lost by unanimous decision. Navarrete, 4 fights in 2018. This will be his 3rd of 2019. One of the more busy fighters in the sport that has a title. I like that. He's going to win this fight big. And that's going to, the crowd, the Mexican fans in the crowd, they're going to love that shit. All right, back to main event. And I'm not going to dwell on this Tyson Fury lineal thing for too damn long. But again, man, beats Vladimir Klitschko in November 2015. I still put a minor asterisk next to that W. I went back and forth with some of you guys on Twitter about the nandrolone situation, UCAD, Fury with performance-enhancing drugs, and then cocaine afterwards and all that stuff. Look, I'm not even going to get into that here. Tyson Fury beats Vladimir Klitschko in November 2015. Awesome. Doesn't fight again until June 2018. Okay? Bottom line, end of story. However you want to talk about, you know, we don't even have to talk about why. Dude didn't fight for almost 3 years. Lost every title he had. Was stripped, not just of the alphabet titles, but was stripped of his Ring Magazine title. Was unranked briefly by sanctioning organizations. Okay? Unlicensed. Retired. Seriously. He retired, quote unquote. Did not fight for almost 3 years. Comes back. Sefer Safari, not even a top 100 heavyweight. Francesco Pianetta, who's at his best was a fringe contender, top 12, top 15, maybe heavyweight. Right now, he's not even in the top 20. And then Tom Schwartz, and this weekend, he's going to beat Otto Wallin. By the way, he did have performance-enhancing drug issues in 2015. He did pop for nandrolone by UCAD. And then later on in 2016, tested positive for cocaine. From that period of time, all the way up until his fight with Deontay Wilder, no drug testing. Okay? No advanced drug testing through a program like VADA. Hasn't since the Deontay Wilder fight that I've been made aware of. So I'm not saying that to bash Tyson Fury or anything else, but given his whole past, everything that happened, if I'm Deontay Wilder and they're doing that rematch in February, I want VADA testing again. And I'm pretty sure he'll demand that. And expect the drinking game this weekend, guys, is every time the ESPN guys say the word lineal, you have to take a shot. Now, you might end up in the emergency room, but it'll be a lot of fun. Probably more fun than the fight itself. Tyson Fury will probably knock this dude out. It could go the distance, depending on how this guy chooses to fight. Could go the distance. This guy's probably a little bit better than Tom Schwartz. So maybe it goes all 12. Do you want to watch Tyson Fury slap this dude for 12 rounds? Is that what you consider a lineal heavyweight championship defense? I don't. I said this in my video that I posted the other day. Right now, Fury and Wilder are rated number 1 and number 2 in the world. If it stays that way, and they rematch next February like they're supposed to, like they're saying they want to, and they're rated number 1 and number 2 in the world, when they fight that rematch, guess what? The winner of that fight is the lineal champion and the man, because it's number 1 versus number 2. That was not the case when they fought the first time. Not the case. Anthony Joshua was rated number 1. Wilder maybe 2 or 3, depending on, I think he was rated 2 by most publications. But Fury was all over the place. A lot of people didn't even have Fury in the top 10 because he hadn't fought a top 10 rated contender in over 3 years. All right? So, that's all I got to say about that. Fury's going to win. And look, I have nothing against Tyson Fury. Let me add one little thing. I lied. Tyson Fury's a great character. He's a damn good fighter too. And it's no hyperbole to say what he brings to the ring as a heavyweight, a 6'8" heavyweight that moves the way he moves, we've never seen it. In the history of boxing, we've never seen a man that big move the way he moves and be able to box the way he boxes. We have never seen it. Tyson Fury on his A game, fully confident and mentally together, is something we haven't seen before. So I'm a fan of him in the ring. I like watching him fight. But he's not the champion right now. Right now, you got a bunch of guys at the top of the heavyweight division. No one has separated themselves yet as the guy. Period. Regardless of what Joe Tessitore and Andre Ward and Tim Bradley and Max Kellerman and the crew tell you this Saturday. All right, one other card this Saturday at the Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. Golden Boy Promotions on DAZN. Ryan Garcia, 18-0, 15 knockouts, going up against Avery Sparrow, 10 rounds lightweights. Garcia, 5'10", 70 inches, 21 years old. Sparrow, 5'7", and he is 25 years old. I think 72-inch reach. He's from Philly, I do believe. He's fought mostly around Philly. And he had one KO win last year, turned into a no contest for drugs. So no drug testing for this fight at all. And I think Sparrow actually talked about that in some interviews recently. Ryan Garcia looking jacked. There's no drug testing. Well, take with that what you will. Jaime Munguia in the main event going up against Patrick Allotey from Ghana. Jaime Munguia is 33-0, 26 knockouts. Allotey is 40-3, 30 knockouts. This is the 5th defense of Munguia's junior middleweight title. Height will play a factor here. Munguia is 6 feet tall, huge for that division. Allotey's 5'9". He's left Ghana 3 times. All 3 times he's lost. This is his 4th time fighting outside Ghana. Guess what? It's going to be his 4th professional loss. What does this do for Jaime Munguia other than make him some money and Mexican-American fans in Los Angeles come down and watch him fight? Not much else. Keeps him busy, makes a little cash. So that's cool. And then he's going to move up to 160 pounds. I'm curious if we see the real Jaime Munguia in this fight. He's been trying to box a little bit too much recently. That's not who he is. He needs to go in there and just try to blast this dude out of there. All right, let's get to some questions, guys, and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's see, we've been going for about 45 minutes here. Sailor Mooney says, don't understand why Fury is number 1. AJ was number 1, and Ruiz took his spot. Fury is number 3. That's a great comment, and that's something that we argued back and forth about on the ratings committee a little bit. Because there were several people who felt the same way, okay? The difference here is that Ruiz has lost. He lost to Joseph Parker, right? Close fight, could have went either way, but he did lose. He's been very inconsistent, and he just had this one big win, right? If you look at Tyson Fury's resume, he had one big win as well, over Vladimir Klitschko, but he also had that draw with Deontay Wilder, who many people saw as the number 2 heavyweight. So the overall body of work, and a lot of people on the ratings committee felt that Fury won that fight and deserved to win that fight and was kind of robbed. So the decision was made to bump him up to number 1 and keep Wilder at number 2. And 3 and 4 right now is Ruiz and Joshua, and let's see how the rematch plays out. You may agree with that, you may disagree with it, and that's fine. You can absolutely make a case for saying Andy Ruiz is the number 1 heavyweight right now. Personally, I don't think he's going to win that rematch. I don't think he's the best heavyweight in the world. I think he struck lightning in a bottle that night, and I think Joshua is going to win the rematch. The question for me is, how does he win the rematch? Does he play it safe? Does he get dropped a couple more times? Does he barely beat Ruiz? Or does he dominate him the way that most people felt he would the first time around? If he dominates Ruiz, then maybe he gets back up there. Is he back up in the top spot? No. But maybe he creeps up to like number 2 or something. It all depends on how these next few fights play out, man. The good thing is the top 4 guys, and if you call Luis Ortiz number 5, cool. I don't think he's the 5th best heavyweight, but all these guys are fighting over the next few months. So it's going to get kind of cleared up. You know what I'm saying? They're going to kind of clear all this up. And by the end of the year, we'll have a much clearer picture of the heavyweight division, of the ranking at the top going into 2020. And we're going to get some of the fights that we want in 2020 that were kind of set up this year. So good things ahead, my man. But again, you make a good point, and I understand that point of view. Sultan Murr says, should the State Athletic Commission deny big drug cheat Miller beyond the WBA suspension? If so, for how long? They should, but there's a loophole in the law, the bylaws of the New York State Athletic Commission, something with the way, I don't remember specifically off the top of my head, but at the time they did a hearing, technically I don't think Jarrell Miller was licensed. And because he wasn't licensed, they couldn't suspend him. It's some weird loophole. So when he does come back, I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know if somebody can mandate that he has to do an advanced testing program or anything like that. I don't think they can. But if I'm fighting Jarrell Big Baby Miller, I'm demanding VADA right away, you know? And I really hope he doesn't just walk into a big fight because he doesn't deserve it. He didn't deserve the Anthony Joshua fight, actually. Tommy Boseo asks, hey Montero, your thoughts on Frampton versus Dog Bay? It's rumored to be in the works. Oh my God, I hope not. Dog Bay needs a rest, dude. It would be fun, but I just think Frampton's just a better athlete, a better boxer. And yes, he's faded. He's past his best years, but Dog Bay's coming off those 2 beatings. Dog Bay needs he needs an Otto Wallin. He needs Otto Wallin or Tom Schwartz or Sefer Seferi. That's who he needs to be fighting. A little version of one of those guys. Not Carl Frampton, bro. Oh, man. Mr. Money, H Money, Mr. DAZN says Loma is ducking Devin Haney. That's hilarious. I shouldn't have even read that. It says Devin Haney will knock out Loma. All right, then. Devin Haney is the next Mayweather. You might be right, dude. But let's see how he looks Saturday. Okay? Let's see that first before we anoint him the next Mayweather, who's an all-time great. Tommy Boseo says Top Rank is offering Big Baby Miller a 3-fight deal. Very possible. Very, very possible. But, again, he takes VADA. Fine. He's a character. He's going to make for good fights. And look, he'd provide a great opponent for Tyson Fury in New York. If they do drug testing for that fight, even if they don't, because Tyson Fury might not want drug testing. In New York, imagine at the Garden, Fury versus Miller. It'd sell. It would sell. Muscle Memory says, good evening, Mr. Montero. Does Beeville have an opponent yet for October 12th? To my knowledge, no. They're close, but they've had trouble securing an opponent. It's been really tough. Expect it to be a disappointment. It's probably going to be a disappointment. Actually, Bevel said earlier, I think it was last week actually, he said, announcement coming soon, we're getting close, still nothing. So it's going to be kind of like the guy, Alexander Usyk's fighting. It's going to be somebody like that. Hate to say it, but it's so late in the game. They've had a lot of people turning it down, man. A lot of people turning it down. Tim Nick says, Fury did not land many punches. It was a very close fight. Facts. I guess you're talking about Fury and Wilder. I agree. That fight wasn't very good. A lot of people talk about that fight like it was this all-time great heavyweight fight. It wasn't that good. There was a couple of interesting moments. Very tense, but not that good. But a lot, there are people out there who score that fight 9 rounds to 3 for Fury. That's insane. That's insane, man. That's too wide. I think that's too wide. Chris Bergen asks, who will end up being the king of the light heavyweight division? Well, look, man, we're going to get Beterbiev and Gvozdyk fighting next month. I think the winner of that fight is the guy right now. I really, really do. Because it's 2 of the top guys. They're unifying titles. Technically, if you're into all this lineal bullshit, Gvozdyk already beat the lineal champ. That was Adonis Stevenson, right? And they each have titles. So they're going to be unifying titles. There's lineage involved. The winner of that fight is the man, in my opinion. You could make an argument, though, for Sergey Kovalev, but it depends. If somehow Sergey Kovalev beat Canelo Alvarez, that might change the discussion, even though Canelo's a middleweight. It would just show that Sergey's still live. He's still a live dog, and he's still very, very much got some juice left. You know what I mean? But if Kovalev loses to Canelo, which I think he will, Beterbiev, Gvozdyk, that's the champ of that division, bro. And Bivol is quite possibly moving to 68. So, John Uden asked, Mike, with his punch output, do you give Navarrete the edge as the best super bantamweight right now? I do. I do. Young guy. I said it. Yeah, he's 24 right now. 24 years old, active, really, really improved. Watch some of his fights 2 years ago on YouTube and look at him now. He is improving. He is showing some craft. I think just because of his physicalness and, as you said, his activity, his work rate, he's the best in that division right now. However, he ain't going to make that weight forever. When he moves up to 26, he's going to have problems because there's guys there that can match his physicality and guys there that can outbox him and have a lot more skill and craft. So, Carlos Cabrera says Navarrete versus Inoue. Holy shit! That'd be lit. if Inoue beats Donaire, which he should later this year, ends up fighting Luis Neri at some point next year, and then moves up to 22, sign me up for some of that shit, brother. Sign me up. Sailor Mooney says, I'm going to the gym. Slayer or Montero? Montero, come on. Look, guys, I think I mentioned this before on the podcast. I've been trying to listen to podcasts when I work out instead of music. It makes shit a lot harder. It's easy to get pumped up for your next set if you got some beats playing or something. But if you're listening to actual podcast about a subject that you really like, I like history, I like politics, not just boxing. It forces you to focus in a different way. You're connecting your physical exercise, right? Your physical exercise with your mind because you're listening to something with intent. So if it's on a subject that you care a lot about, say you love history, the Mayan culture, and you're listening to a podcast with a dude who wrote a book about the Mayan culture, and they're talking about all these different things, and you find that interesting. As you're pumping, as you're lifting weights, that's connecting your mind and body in a different way. You're doing your exercise with intent now. A lot of people just throw on some music, whatever you listen to, rap, techno, death metal, whatever, and they go in there and beast out a workout. You're just physically reacting at that point, right? You're emotionally and physically reacting. The music is pushing you emotionally. Try. And it will be, you'll see a difference. It will be hard for you the first couple weeks. Try turning off the music and listening to podcasts, books on tape, that kind of shit while you work out. Totally different experience, but you'll feel sharper. At least I do. I feel like I'm learning, I'm expanding my mind, maybe doing a book on tape or something as I'm running, as I'm hitting the bag. Totally different experience, bro. So your answer is Montero, of course. Listen to the show while you work out, man. Sarah Lachek says, push the like button. If not, you're a biatch. I agree, Sarah. MJB Tacos in the house. What's up, man? What's up, my man? I'll be seeing you soon, brother. I'll be out there soon. George Underwood asks, Pretty Boy Floyd versus Ryan Garcia, who wins? Are you talking about right now? Even right now, I think Floyd would box the shit out of Ryan Garcia. Oh, Harrison Property with the super chat. He says, great work as usual, Mike. And Lucas Nunez with a super chat as well, saying, hey, Mike, appreciate the work you do. One question. How often do you think a boxer should fight per year? They should fight at least once every 3 months. First of all, let me say thank you to both of you guys, Harrison Property and Lucas Nunez. Lucas, to answer your question, it depends on the fighter, bro. If you're talking about a prospect or a really young guy trying to build his way up, I just talked about Emmanuel Navarrete. Fought 4 times last year. Those 4 fights last year got him ready to do what he did against Dogbay in those 2 fights, right? And I was fighting 3 times this year. Young guys like him, particularly little guys, need to be active. But when you start getting older, it's actually better. That rest period is better. And your camps are different. Everything becomes different. So somebody like Sergey Kovalev, you know, this turnaround from when he just fought Anthony Yard to now fighting Canelo, I think it's way too quick of a turnaround for him. He's taking the fight because of the career high money. He's going to get 8 figures for that fight. He's going to get 12 mil, but then people are forgetting there's Russian money and everything else involved. So he's going to eat very well off that fight. Guys like Golovkin right now shouldn't fight more than 2 or 3 times a year. If it's 2 top 10 opponents, then maybe that 3rd fight is a guy like, who the hell did he just fight? I can't even think of the dude's name that he just fought. But an opponent like that. So it really depends on the fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's in boxing, one size does not fit all. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the fighter and where you're at in your career. Prospects, dude, you could be fighting once every other month. You could be fighting 6, 7 times a year. Rolls, Steve Rolls, Isaiah helping me out. Yeah. So if you're fighting Steve Rolls level opponents, well then if you're Golovkin's age, you can fight 4 times a year. But if you're fighting 3 times and 2 of them, like Sergey Derevyanchenko, right? A guy at that level, you're only doing that a couple times a year at Golovkin's age. If you're going to fight a 3rd, 4th time, it's got to be a Steve Rolls type guy. John Uden with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. He says, did Dogbay's loss kill Jesse Magdaleno's motivation? You talking about when Dogbay beat Jesse Magdaleno? You know, I'll say this about Jesse. I'm not going to say too much on the record. He's not very, very happy with where he's at in boxing right now and just the sport in general. He's kind of going through the motions. Maybe that loss took something out of him, but I think he feels that he was maybe not the most prepared for that fight, and he's frustrated. So he's kind of in a bad place with the sport right now. I think it'll pass. I think he'll be okay. He's carved out a good career for himself. Oh, you guys are fighting so much about this Fury thing. Fury and Wilder. I will say, man, the whole Fury and Wilder thing, it's become so polarized. So polarized. All right. Survive says, damn, I'm late to the live stream. Did he already talk about Logan Paul, KSI, and DAZN? Yes, I did, Survive. Go back and watch it earlier. I think you'll be surprised at what I had to say. Look, I don't hate that fight. I don't love it. I don't hate it either. I don't think it's going to build any new fans to the sport. I think that's a ridiculous notion. Did celebrity boxing bring new fans to the sport? Some of you guys are too young to remember when Fox did celebrity boxing. It's a freak show. It's a one-off. It's a fun, special, little, interesting niche event. There will be more of them. We're going to see more YouTube guys fight. At some point, you're probably going to see fights between media guys. Like, I was half joking when I tweeted, I think it was a week ago, where I said, shit, I'll fight on DAZN. Anybody want to fight me? I'd do it. If DAZN wants to put me on a 5-rounder, I don't want to do amateur shit. I'll get my pro license. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I think something like that could be possible one day. With YouTube and streaming technology, you don't have to worry about networks. That's why this fight's on DAZN. These guys are on the internet. They're on YouTube, right? They're internet personalities. So it makes sense that their fight's on DAZN. So that it's the same technology. They're not TV celebrities. And I think that you're going to see more of that kind of shit. People are figuring out how to do live streams and all these different things. Survive says Montero versus Eddie Hearn. Make it happen. Hell yeah, dude. Eddie's my size too. I'd fight Eddie Hearn. That would be awesome. I get to punch Eddie Hearn? Shit. I like Eddie Hearn, but so many people out there dislike him. I don't know why. It's so interesting. Jack Alter asks, Triple G versus Derevianchenko prediction. Triple G by decision in that fight, but he's going to take some punishment. It's going to put some wear and tear on him. And just because of styles, Triple G's much better, much more accomplished fighter than Derevianchenko, but because of their body styles and fighting styles, Sergey's going to get some punches in. Fartero asks, who's the best, Steve Smoger or Steve Willis? Shit, bro, that's 50-50. Smoger, as far as how he handled fights, I like him better. As far as personality, you got to go with Steve Willis, man. He's hilarious, his eyes. But the two Steves, those are two of my favorite refs of all time, for real, though. Gail Falkenthal said, who's the A-side between Montero and Hearn? MOB for sure, baby. Yeah, something tells me I'd maybe be getting 10% of that purse split. Maybe 10%. John Uden says, Mike, Logan Paul, and KSI will have fought twice, and we can't get Tank and Farmer in their ring once. Ha! It's true. Sad but true. Azier says, Eddie is 6'5", and he can box. He's a problem, Mike. He is a problem. You know what? I'll solve that problem. They want to put me on DAZN and pay me? I'll solve the Eddie Hearn problem. Sign me up for that shit. We're probably the same age. Hell, he might be younger than me. I'm 40. Isn't he in his 30s still, or is he in his 40s? Either way, same size. He grew up with a lot more money than me. we didn't grow up very much the same way. But same size, same age, same reach. Shit, man, I'll box Eddie. Let's do it. Make that shit happen. Jack Alter asks, you see Chenko getting dropped since Colque almost dropped him and Jacobs dropped him. You know, Jack, it is very possible that Golovkin could score a late stoppage in that fight. It's very, very possible. At first, I think distance fight. It depends on which Derevianchenko shows up. He has taken punishment. He has been wobbled. You mentioned Colque, Jacobs. So if that trend continues, right, and Golovkin fights smart and sticks behind the jab and systematically breaks him down with the jab and starts working the body, he can absolutely stop him late. And that, you know what? This fight is a good barometer to show us where Golovkin is. A lot of people have talked about he's past his best. He's faded, right? He's over the hill. If he stops Derevianchenko, something Jacobs couldn't do, right? I think it shows that he's still pretty much at the top of his game. If it goes the distance and Derevianchenko has moments, I think it shows that he's definitely past his best days. For my money, I think the best version of Golovkin is right around the time where he fought David Lemieux. Right around there was his best. I mean, that was his absolute peak as a fighter. James Tech says, faded but still great. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Oh, you guys, Feed Me Stats says my money is on Montero. All right, so the odds are early on are in my favor. Let's see what Vegas has to say. Tim Nick says Hearn versus Montero is better than Fury versus Otto Wallin. You know what? It is. And we actually make pretty damn fun press conferences. With my personality and his personality, he's a sarcastic shit just like I am. I'd try to imitate him. He'd probably try to imitate me. He does a way better American accent than I do British accent, but we make that shit fun. We do a press tour in London, New York, and LA, and we'd fight. I guess we'd fight somewhere in the middle. Maybe New York would be the spot. Yeah, maybe New York. All right, guys, we've been going here for over an hour. So, man, this was a fun show. I gotta be honest, I felt a little sloppy tonight because I've been off for like a week. I was a little sloppy, but we'll tighten that shit up. Oh, right at the end here, Carlos Cabrera says, great job, Mike. Mike versus Bias Coppinger. Thank you for the super chat, Carlos. Look, I would fight Mike Coppinger. He's my size too. That would be like a battle of peers. That would be really, really fun. I'd absolutely fight Mike Coppinger. There'd be a lot of people that would love to see that shit. For real. Would love to see that shit. Jack says, you and Tiff are looking great in the workouts, dude. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Actually, you know, I did track back in school. It's one of the sports. I played a bunch of sports back in school. And I found a track around here. Stairs, a couple football fields, track, where, you know, I could do 40-yard sprints and everything. I'm taking Tiff there tomorrow. I'm going to kick her ass. She's going to hate me, but she's going to love me afterward because she's never done like a real track workout in like sprints and steps and things like that. So she doesn't know how that feels. It's going to whoop her ass. It's going to be, the thing is though, she's a little monster. She'll fight through it. She for real will. Saloon Mooney says, how about 6-rounder with the barbershop dude? I'd feel bad fighting him. He's such a little beta cuck male. Come on, man, a jab that dude would run. There's been a couple of personal run-ins with that individual. I'm not going to talk about here, but very, very quickly, let me just say, I could tell where that dude's heart is. And it was he very, very quickly backed down. So I wouldn't fight that guy. That would just not be fair, man. I'd actually have, Tiffany would fight him. That would be a fight. And Tiffany would beat him, by the way. That'd be a fight that I'd bet on. That would be awesome. Tiffany, there's the Kung Fu Monster, says Tim Nick. Yeah, dude. We're gonna stop it right there on that one. All right. Thank you very much, guys. And so next week, Monday's show will be the review of all this weekend stuff. That will be here in Atlanta. Thursday's preview show, I will be in Los Angeles. I'm hoping I'm going to take my equipment and stuff with me. I hope that I'll be able to do the show from the hotel in downtown LA, okay? So we're going to take the show to the West Coast next week and for the next couple weeks. All right, guys? Thank you very, very, very much. I love you guys. Have a good weekend. I'll see you at the fights.